Guys, welcome back. Now today, I'm going to be discussing 10 NHL players who I think will break out in the 2019-20 season. There are a bunch of NHL players who have yet to make a huge mark in the NHL, but which of those players make my top 10 and who do I see breaking out the most? Watch till the end to find out. When it comes to a lot of the players that I'll mention in this video, a lot of them haven't really got the recognition that they deserve quite yet. Whether that's because they're young and they haven't had that many NHL seasons under their belt, or it's just because they've been unhealthy in the past couple of years, these are the players who I think will break out big time next NHL season and will get a lot more recognition. Speaking of recognition, the first player who I think will break out big time in the 2019-20 season, I have Andrei Svechnikov. He is a Carolina Hurricanes right winger, of course at age 19, Russian-born guy. He had a great season in his rookie year last season with Carolina as they didn't make the playoffs. But I think he can have a much bigger role next season, and with guys like Sebastian Aho in their prime, I think he'll do bigger damage and have a lot more experience under his belt. Now, last year with Carolina, he ended up playing a full season, getting 82 games and getting 20 goals, 17 assists for 37 points. And he had a very impressive rookie season, especially in that second half where he really started to find his groove and really started to get really good. But I think he can translate that into next season and become even better. When it comes to next season, my point projection is 82 games, but him getting 30 goals, 30 assists for an even 60 points. Around that area, whether it's around 50 to 60 points, I think is a sweet spot when it comes to Svechnikov. It depends on the teammates he ends up getting, but Carolina is a very good offensive team when Andrei Svechnikov is on it, and I think he'll be big for them next season. Moving on to the next player who I think will break out big time in the 2019-20 season, I have Mikhail Sergachev. Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman at age 21, Russian-born guy, had a little bit of a sophomore slump last season with Tampa, even though they were amazing and one of the best teams of all time. Sergachev didn't really have the greatest role on that team and didn't play amazingly. He was still decent, but not great. But this next season, I think he could do a lot better, especially offensively. Now, last year with Tampa, he ended up playing 75 games, getting 6 goals, 26 assists for 32 points. And that's still very good. But next season, I think he can definitely reach his other game and reach another gear that we haven't seen with Sergachev. I think he'll play around 80 games, getting 12 goals, 35 assists for 47 points. Around that area, 45 to 50 points, I think, is a sweet spot when it comes to Sergachev. Again, he's kind of right now going in his prime when it comes to defensemen. And with Tampa, they have so many weapons to choose from. I think Sergachev will also get a bigger role both offensively and defensively, which will definitely help him out. Going on to the next player who I think will break out big time in the 2019-20 season, I have Brady Tkachuk. Of course, American-born player with the Ottawa Senators at age 19. When it came to his rookie season, it was about as good as you could have ever expected. And while he had some decent line mates in Mark Stone, after he was traded, he was still pretty solid. And when it comes to Brady Tkachuk, I think he'll get a much bigger role next season, and we'll see him perform quite well. Last season with Ottawa, he had a very good year, playing 71 games, but getting 22 goals, 23 assists for 45 points. And next season, I think we'll see him replicate that and even more. I think we'll see a full 82-game season unless injury happens, who knows. But I think we'll see him get 30 goals, 25 assists for around 55 points. That's where I'm projecting him right now. And yes, while obviously he doesn't have a Mark Stone to play with, I think he'll get a lot of minutes, a lot of opportunity, and a lot of power play time. And for a guy that's that young with so much skill, that's what he needs. Going on to the next player who I think will break out big time in the 2019-20 season, I have Sami Niku. Defensive player, Finnish-born guy at age 22 with the Winnipeg Jets. And this past season, he was kind of switching between the AHL and the NHL. The year before that, he was an absolute beast with the Manitoba Moose of the AHL. But this next year, when it comes to Sami Niku, with guys like Jacob Trouba and Tyler Myers going away from Winnipeg, I think we'll see a guy like Sami Niku get a much bigger playing time and a much bigger opportunity. Now, this past season with Winnipeg, he ended up playing 30 games, getting 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. But we also got to keep in mind that the minutes was definitely limited with Winnipeg's defense. We have a lot of top 4 guys on that defense. Sami Niku really fit in too well and didn't get a lot of playing time either under Paul Maurice. But this next season, I think that'll be much different. Sami Niku, I think, will be relied upon to be that top 4 guy, and I think he will be that for Winnipeg. I think we'll see him get a full 82-game season, or at least around there, getting 8 goals, 24 assists for around 32 points. And obviously, I think that's a little bit much to expect from probably a 23-year-old at that point. I think when it comes to Sami Niku, the opportunity that he'll get is fantastic, and Winnipeg should give him that opportunity. He's a fantastic prospect, and has been that way for the past couple of years, and if he really does develop right, he'll be a top 2 guy for Winnipeg in no time. On to the next player who I think will be a big-time breakout candidate next season. I have Victor Mete. He's a defensive guy at age 21 with the Montreal Canadiens, born in Canada, of course. And when it comes to Victor Mete, last season was a little bit of a jokey one, and getting 0 goals, and of course that was the running joke with him. But next season, I think we'll see him a lot more differently. He'll get a lot more goals than he did last year. I would say at least 1 goal, but will prove himself as one of the best all-around guys for Montreal. Victor Mete last season ended up playing 71 games, getting 13 assists for 13 points. Obviously 0 goals on the marker, but next season we'll see him get a lot more in my opinion. Next season I see him playing a full 82 games, getting 8 goals, 34 assists for around 42 points. And when it comes to Victor Mete, we've seen reports of him going to a shooting coach. I think that will affect him quite a bit, and in a good way. When it comes to Montreal, they have a lot of guys that can tip it in front of the net, a lot of guys that have a lot of talent, and for Victor Mete, he was really unlucky throughout that whole season. I'm pretty sure he got like 2 goals in the preseason and then 0 goals throughout the rest of the regular season, but I think that will be a big change. When it comes to Victor Mete, though, he is a fantastic defenseman, one of the most underrated in the entire NHL, and if given a big chance in Montreal, which I think he should be next season, he'll be good. And scary good. For the next player who I think will be a big-time breakout player next season, I have Roope Hintz. He's a left wing at age 22, Finnish-born player with the Dallas Stars, and of course you guys know the Dallas Stars are my first favorite team, see every single game, both in the regular season and in the playoffs, and I've been a big-time fan of Roope Hintz for a long time, pretty much ever since he was drafted, and even a little bit before that. But with Dallas, it's been a slow progression. He started out in the started in the Liga, then went to the AHL, and went to the Texas Stars in a big-time role. And this past season, he went between the AHL and the NHL a couple of times, but at the end of the season, at the end of the stretch, and during the playoffs, he was in the NHL full-time and was an absolute monster, playing like a top 6 guy, and had that talent, scoring goals left and right for Dallas. And next season, I think we'll see the more same of that. The more consistent Roope Hintz, I think we'll see a big-time scorer from him and a top 6 player for Dallas. When it comes to Hintz last season with Dallas, he ended up playing 58 games, getting 9 goals, 13 assists for 22 points. And next season, I think we'll see Roope Hintz kind of get a bigger role with Dallas. Again, I think a guy that can be in that top 6. Since they did lose Matt Zuccarello, I feel like Roope Hintz can somewhat be in that position. Obviously not be as good as Matt Zuccarello was with Dallas, but Roope I think will take excellent strides next season. I see him getting around 82 games, around that full season, getting 20 goals, around 20 assists for 40 points. And I think that is pretty realistic when it comes to Roope. Again, he's kind of in the prime right now, entering the prime of his career, and he has a lot of skill. Again, after using the experience that he got in the NHL last season, I think that will definitely help him. If he has a little bit more size and a little bit more skill, I feel like he'll be awesome in the NHL next season, and one of the main tools that Dallas use in their offense. Moving on to the only goaltender of this 10, but still a guy who I think will break out nonetheless, I have Thatcher Demko. Goaltending prospect / player of the Vancouver Canucks at age 23, American-born guy. I think it's about time that Thatcher Demko does finally break out. He might not take the starting job away from Jacob Markstrom, but I think it might be close. I think we'll see him getting a lot more NHL games and a lot more experience. Now, last season with Vancouver, he only ended up playing 9 games, but in those games, he got a 2.81 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. And that's pretty decent. When it comes to Thatcher Demko, obviously that Vancouver defense is not the greatest. So Demko did relatively well for his first few games last season. I feel like next season we'll see him get a lot bigger of an opportunity. I think we'll see him around 40 to 42 games played. And in those games, I think we'll see him get a 240 goals against average, around that, and around a .918 save percentage. That's around the sweet spot when it comes to Demko. I think we'll see him have quite a good season when it comes to his official first rookie year. But when it comes to Demko, again, I think we'll see him get a lot more games played. Again, it might be kind of a back and forth, a 50-50 between Thatcher Demko and Markstrom. I think we'll see him get a lot bigger an opportunity and be the next starter for Vancouver. Now for the next player who I think will break out big time, I got Ondrej Kase from the Anaheim Ducks. He is from the Czech Republic at age 23, and when it comes to Kase, he is one of the most underrated players in the entire NHL. And when it comes to this past season, he was unhealthy, never really got to that full form. But when it comes to Kase, if he's healthy next season, he will be super scary and probably one of the biggest breakout guys, attention-wise, out of this list. Now last season with Anaheim, he ended up playing 30 games, getting 11 goals and 9 assists for 20 points. But if Kase was healthier the whole season, Anaheim would have been a lot better. And I'm not really kidding there. I think Kase could have gone around 60 to 65 points if he was healthy. And that's just the thing. He was healthy towards the end of the season, but at that point, those games are basically meaningless for Anaheim. But after that, I think it'll be a big-time improvement. Now, when it comes to next season, I see Ondrej Kase getting around 80 to 82 games, hopefully a healthy season. And if he does stay healthy, I think he'll get 30 goals and 35 assists for 65 points, or at least around there. Kase has amazing talent, and we've seen that so far in his career, one of the most underrated players in NHL. And if he is healthy, don't be surprised when he becomes one of the NHL's biggest stars, especially in Anaheim, because he will become that good. Now moving on to the next forward, who I think will break out big time in the 2019-2020 season, I have Andreas Johnsson. He is a left winger at age 24 with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Swedish-born player. And when it comes to Johnsson, we really haven't seen a full season from him, at least when it comes to his full extent. But next season, I think he will be with Austin Matthews, pairing probably on that first line. I think he'll get a big opportunity, a lot more minutes, and a lot more points. Now last season with Toronto, he ended up playing 73 games, getting 20 goals, 23 assists for 43 points. He kind of switched line mates a couple of times throughout that season, and it was never really too consistent. For the most part, he did play with Austin Matthews, but he was still very, very good. And we saw a little bit of a slump for him at the first part of the season, but in that second half, he really started to got going. And I think if he carries that momentum up to next season and plays with Austin Matthews, I think he'll have an excellent season. Again, if he stays healthy around 82 games, I think he'll get 25 goals, 35 assists for 60 points. And if he's playing alongside of Austin Matthews, who hopefully also stays healthy, those two guys are pretty much a match made in heaven and will be perfect for each other next season. Now, moving on to the player who I think will break out the most in the 2019-20 NHL season, I have Charlie McAvoy. Defenseman for the Boston Bruins at age 21, American-born player. And when it comes to Charlie McAvoy, yes, obviously he was part of the Stanley Cup run, but in the regular season, we really didn't see him quite healthy enough, and if he really did play, he wasn't 100%. But next season with Boston, as guys like Zdeno Chara start to finally go down, or at least decline a lot more, I feel like a guy like Charlie McAvoy will get the big-time minutes in Boston, if he didn't already. Last season with Boston, he ended up playing 54 games, getting 7 goals, 21 assists for 28 points. And with the Boston Bruins next season, I think we'll see him get a lot bigger of an opportunity, a top 2 role 100%. I think we'll see him around healthy, hopefully be as healthy, 82 games. I think he'll see 15 goals, 35 assists for around 50 points. And I think Charlie McAvoy last year was a little bit of a sophomore slump. Again, we did see him not completely healthy. He was very good during the Stanley Cup final run, obviously. And next season, I think we'll see him take that experience into the next level. He's at age 21 right now, kind of entering his prime the next couple of years, and next season I think will be a big one for him. Obviously, Torrey Krug is still there and having a lot of the offensive capabilities, but I think McAvoy will be just behind, but still very, very good. But of course, with this video, I need to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about my 10 NHL breakout candidates for the 2019-20 season? Let me know what you agree with, disagree with, down in the comments. And of course, the question on you, who do you think breaks out the most next season? If you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video on my top 5 NHL teams with the brightest futures. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on my 10 breakout candidates and who you think breaks out the most. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.